Hey everybody, welcome back. And what we're going to be doing today is another Codelab walkthrough where we play around with Cloud Composer, Cloud Dataproc, and Hadoop. And what we're going to be basically doing is using the Dataproc cluster that we create to run a Hadoop word count job. And what this is basically doing is it's going to search, well, it's going to try to figure out how many words we have in a data set. Pretty straightforward thing for Hadoop to do. If you're not familiar with Hadoop, this is not really intended to be like a tutorial on Hadoop. It's more getting the tools up and running so that you can leverage Hadoop. But if you are into the whole big data, data warehousing realm, that's kind of where Hadoop's going to fit in. Typically uses like a Mapreduce type of query. There's other ones available as well, but that's one of the more commonly known ones. So I've got a code web that we'll be working through here, and it starts off with a gotcha. Now, if you start following along with this code web and you read through, okay, we need Cloud Composer, we need Dataproc. All right, we're going to go ahead and enable all of those. There's actually a link somewhere in here, must be on the next page, for setting up the APIs that we need. Yeah, right here. So enable, sorry, I don't mean to be scrolling so fast, enable the API. So it enables Composer, Dataproc, Cloud Storage. Typical things that we need. Should mention Composer is basically an implementation of Apache's Airflow, and all this really is an orchestration server, and it is Airflow, except it's being managed by Google, basically. But this is where the gotcha is. If you go in to set things up, all right, so enable the APIs, let's create a Cloud Composer environment. So it tells you to look at Composer. And you're going to search for, I created a new project for this specifically. So I'm going to search for Composer, okay. Well, it's going to take me here. And then if I click enable, it's going to enable the API. So let's enable that. So this is just the API documentation. Fun, fun, fun. I'm going to search again, and it's, well, okay, so we need the environments page, right? So clearly we need to go to Composer environments. Well, it just takes you back to the API page. Well, that's strange. This picture shows you Composer. And regardless if this thing is enabled or not, you just keep coming back to this page. And you start reading through the documentation here and tutorials and all that fun stuff. And basically it just gives you a bunch of RESTful calls to be making or a bunch of shell commands to run. For the life of me, I cannot find this page anywhere, starting from a fresh project. And I'm curious as to how it is possible to get there. So this, I could not get this to pop up. And of course, when I go to do the demo, it actually appears. I should say I was patient. I let it spin up and it sat for probably a half hour and I tried it and now it's here. So apparently you can use the GUI. Fine. Be that way. What I did, and I'm going to get rid of this project afterwards. I created a environment with Cloud Shell. So I use this gcloud composer environment to create uh, Hadoop demo. So I used my initials and gave it a location, US Center 1. This took honestly about 15 minutes to spin up. So it will take some time to create a composer environment. Just basically be aware of that. Regardless, I have an environment now and I can play around with it, which is good. Now, what we need to do is to create a storage bucket, and this is going to house our data that we need. So we need just basically fine-grained. Okay, so standard bucket it looks like. Let's use the GUI this time. We've been doing it in gcloud before. Let's just let's create one from scratch. So cloud storage. Yeah, hey, look at that. And here's my Hadoop bucket for my composer. Let's create another bucket here. Let's call it Hadoop demo bucket. It said multi-region, so that's what we want. Standard is fine. It said fine-grained access. We'll just use uniform because I don't think we particularly care. So now we have our Hadoop demo bucket. Okay, so we have that. Now let's get Airflow up and running. And this is, again, Composer will take some time to spin up, so you can skip ahead and come back to it later if you would like. But what we want to do is basically set some environment variables. So now I'm going to shrinky dink this page a bit. Okay, that should be good, and that should be good. All right, so our environment is EMF Hadoop-demo. Okay, so composer instance equals EMF Hadoop demo. Okay, so gcloud composer environments run our environment variable. And then our location is US Central 1. And variables. And we're going to set GCP project to your project ID. Our project ID is this fun ID. All right. And basically what this is doing is it is getting Airflow kicked off with our composer environment. And you see it's talking to Kubernetes as well. All right, so now we have to set the bucket. Let's go ahead and gcloud composer, environments run. This is the same thing, so we're just going to get rid of the last bit. Set GCS bucket, GS, and what did we call that? Hadoop demo bucket. Okay, so this is the exact same command, just with a different variable there. My guess is we could probably use this all in one line, but oh, with today, how today's going, I'm not going to chance it. All right, and then this command looks the same as well, except the difference is we're setting the zone. So set GCE zone US Central 1-A. All right, so that is set. Looks like we can get our bucket, or sorry, our generic variables as well, if we would like. So if I were to say run this command, I would expect to see Hadoop demo bucket. You're basically having Composer figure out what our variable is. There we go, Hadoop demo bucket. All right, so we are going to be setting up our Hadoop stuff that we've got going on. So there's some Mapreduce examples. So I've done this demo before in Python. It's kind of nifty to basically look and see the word count of various words. So this looks through Shakespeare's collected works, and it looks through what words have been basically used. So this page is basically just all about setting things up, and very Pythonic, which is kind of nice. So what we're going to be doing here is adding our code. So I'm just going to copy this. For some reason, I was thinking this one was a download a zip file or a GitHub repo, but is not the case. So let's make Hadoop demo. So I just want to dump this file in here. Right, is this a Learn tab? It's not. So this is just the sample workflow. Okay. Right, so this is basically just breaking down the file. All right, fair enough. I'm just kind of, it's been a while since I've run through this lab, and I just want to kind of double check to make sure that everything that we need to be doing, we are doing. Step 4 is basically just kind of a for your information of how to create the job and send it to Airflow, send it up to Composer, and do the Hadoop job that we want to be running. All right, so what we need is a repo. So this is going to be all right. make this a little bit bigger so that we can see our commands a bit better. All in Python here, and what we're going to be running is Hadoop tutorial-py. So let's take a quick look at this file, because it should be basically what you just saw in the Codelab. So basically what we're going to be doing is looking at Shakespeare rows.txt, and we're going to do a word count on this, and anything interesting we can also talk about? Not really, so I'll let you all parse through that on the previous Codelab step if you want details on what Hadoop is actually doing here for us. So we need to get the name of our folder. So basically we're just getting an environment variable here. So dags folder equals this command, and this command is gcloud composer environments, Basically that's what we ran in the previous step where we were trying to get a variable name out of composer. So if we echo dags folder, we should see an actual location of our folder in cloud storage. All right, so let's clear this out, clean things up a bit. gsutil cp, so we want this Python script, slowing down here, up in our dags folder, which is that environment variable we just created. Good. And now we want to go back into our, I should save this just so that I have that for you all for later. So I want to go into our composer environment. We start actually seeing some of this info that we've been populating in that little quick shot as well. And we want to make this a bit bigger. Actually, we just want to be on the home page here so that we can click Airflow. And here we have a visual of what Airflow actually looks like. Again, we are literally running Airflow. It's just got a nice Google management layer behind it. All right, so we could check out our variables. So admin variables is what we have set already. And there we have all those things we did on the command line. Or sorry, the Cloud Shell, not technically our command line. But what would we like to do? Let's take a look at our runs. So, make sure that we are doing the right thing in the right order. Click Composer Hadoop Tutorial, which is this guy right here. Open the details. We see what has happened. So we actually get a nice visual of what's going on here, which is great. And we can click Graph View. Again, nice visual with other information that we can highlight over and see when it was started, when it was ended, how long it took to run, what state it is in, all that kind of fun stuff. So in the GUI view, which is where we are at right now, click the create dataproc cluster graphic, and then we can click clear and run. Now we see that it is running again. Just kind of looking through and seeing what else we have available that might be interesting to check out. So it's currently queued, so we're waiting for it to run. And let's see, so we could also go into dataproc while this is running. Should mention another good lab where you probably want to delete everything when you're done, because there's a lot of moving pieces here. Should have one up here. Interesting. It's possible we missed it. Yeah, because they are very transient. Although it's queued, so it probably hasn't even run yet. Oh, it's up for retry. Okay. Well, let's see what's up in the old cloud storage. There's nothing in here and in here. It's just our airflow. Interesting. Error HTTP 400. Data proc. It's not supported for image version 10. Interesting. Ah, so we have an error. Well, this is problematic. And this is why we check our logs. So we expected to see output. We didn't. So now we see this big error message. HTTP 400 didn't work. Okay, it doesn't actually like trying to create a cluster, and that's why we didn't see it in clusters. I thought it was just not refreshed yet. Okay, so this version of Debian doesn't like N1 standard-1. Well, what if we, at Cloud Console, let's do some live debugging together, shall we? Go to Compute Engine. All right, so we see them here, which is interesting to me. N1 standard 1. I am confused. Okay, well, let's create a new VM with, what are they using here? Let's check our logs. Let's do some debugging. All right, so we are using Debian 10. So we're gonna pick Debian 10. And I wonder if it's N2. N2 okay, let's try this. Let's try this again. Let's go back. I guess let's cancel this job. So it's N2 standard-2. Okay, let's go back to our cluster, or to our composer environment. And see if we can edit it. I don't want to delete it, because God, we will be here forever waiting. Overrides. Machine type. Can we stop the environment? Basically what I'm trying to see is if I can edit the properties of the server. So there it's, I think we are gonna have to redo that. Right, so we did a clone. Where did we set the variables for the, here we go. And then standard. All right, let's take a look at the Codelab. And one. Is it? It's in here, isn't it? Is this the demo? No, this is the demo. Yep, okay. It's in the actual Python script. So if we, let's see, delete the cluster. If we upload this, let's try this again. Okay. All right. Bit of waffling here. Let's vim n1. Okay, let's change these to n2 standard dash 2. Okay, and let's see if we can copy this again and have it stop its job. So we're going to clear CP, copy that up, and then we're going to go to Airflow, refresh, graph view. Yeah, we know you failed. Might have to redo this whole thing. I don't want that. I just want to view it. Merging task failed. Yeah, we know this. We know this. Okay. Off. Clear. Fail. Okay, so it is rerunning. And we'll see what happens. Oh, fun. This is going to be fun to edit. You might be getting this all just raw because that was fun to watch. Okay, we are running. I wonder if we can now see. What if we refresh this? Do we have N2 nodes now? This looks like N1. I really hope I don't have to redo this whole lab. All right, we want data proc. We have a cluster up. Hey, it's working. Okay. So I'm not sure how long this is going to take, but what we did, the script referenced N1 standard -1. We want N2. And that's just the current name of the machine type. Probably worth giving as feedback to Google by me so I can report a mistake. So I will do this later on. Okay. I will also try to remember to put this into the comments of changing the script to N2 because otherwise you're all going to pull your hair out when you get to that point. Let's see. It's not this guy. And I will be back once this is up and running. But happy to see green so far. Basically, we're just waiting for it to provision now. We have success here now. It's no longer running. I was keeping an eye on my data proc clusters. I see it is now currently running. Everything is provisioned. Hopefully life is good. If we check a look at the logs, we should see success. Finally, not errors. Very happy to see that. All right. So basically we've got that up and running. Now let's check our storage because that's where we are dumping our output. Look at that, we have a word count folder. Huzzah! Success. just a file. That as in sweet, one of each. How delightful. I feel like I should be able to just look at this. Cat. Let's try that. Clear. gsutil cat. Yes, okay. I couldn't remember if it was cat or something else, but we have some data that is being streamed to us now in our bucket. And if we do gsutil cat, link to our... So I'm guessing this is a small data set, at least at this point, unless if it's currently streaming. I guess we should check that too. Oh, it's currently running. Okay, and now it's... Maybe I was jumping the gun a bit. If we go back, success. Okay, it's done. Let's go back to our bucket. Refresh. What's in success? gsutil cat bucket link. Just a note. It's good to know. All right. We don't have a lot of data in here, it's looking like. Unless I'm missing something, which is always possible. Oops, wrong. That's not the storage link. We want the GS prefaced one. Okay, maybe it is a small one. Huh, okay. The only thing, so I thought it was a little bit bigger of a demo. We must not be looking at a whole lot of data in this particular example, maybe to keep costs down or something. But you can go through the entirety of Shakespeare's works and do word counts on, any of our Old English terms. It's kind of fun to count them if you go through and do that. For some reason, I'm only getting a tiny bit. I haven't looked at the database, so I'm not really sure, what is in there and what's not in there. This is the biggest one, and I think it's, it's not very, very full there. Yeah. But we are relying on some external code to basically run the count for us, if you recall. So if it's Hadoop tutorial.py, colors, desert. We are not really doing much in here, right? We are using a pre-baked Java Hadoop call. So there's a .jar that's already available for us. I suppose we could look at what's in this file, because that might illuminate some things here. So gsutil cat. I do this? Oh, come on. Let's try this again. Sorry. This link, please. All right, let's be lame about this. gs//pub Shakespeare rows.txt. Copy that. Clear gsutil cat. There we go. Okay. This is what I was wondering, and probably should have checked earlier on. This is the only text we are parsing through. We're not parsing through the entirety, we're just doing a small snippet. They are all publicly available. And if you do gsutil ls pub/Shakespeare. Oh, that's the only one in there. That kind of surprises me. Must be just for demo purposes. Okay, fair enough. It is available up in BigQuery, in Bigtable, I believe. So feel free to check that out. Anyway, trying not to ramble here too much at the end. The whole node creation threw me for a little bit of a loop since I didn't realize that was going to be an issue. Make sure you clean this one up when you are done. And otherwise, I hope you all enjoyed watching me flounder helplessly here. Have a great day. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.